Coming up on today's show, I want to discuss the NFL salary cap news that came out and why it benefits some teams more than others, specifically teams like the Cleveland Browns. But we are trying to reach 42,000 subscribers here on the channel, less than 500 to go. So if you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. If you enjoyed today's episode, by the end of it, scroll on down and click that sub button. The NFL has put out an estimated salary cap projection for 2025, and just like last year, it is a larger salary cap than was already anticipated. And while every single team deals with the same salary cap, this bigger salary cap benefits certain teams more than others based on how they like to spend. Now, we talked about this on yesterday's episode. So if you like this type of content, I invite you to go watch this video. I published this video before Dan Graziano put out the estimated report for the salary cap for this year. So I wouldn't say it's dated, but it's just pre-knowledge of that. But there's still a lot of really good stuff in here. I invite you to watch after today's episode. But let's discuss the NFL salary cap and what it all means, because this train really got rolling when Brett Kollman, who we discussed in that video I talked about yesterday, talked about that the Nielsen ratings are going to change, and that means that the NFL is going to have a whole different way of taking in viewership numbers for all of their games across all these streaming platforms, and that's going to result in more revenue for the NFL, and it's not that difficult to put it together. More revenue for the NFL equals higher salary cap for the players, because every single year, the ownership and the NFLPA, they come to an agreement on the NFL salary cap for that season based on how much money they made, not necessarily the previous year, but like 2 years before that, something like that. But in short, more money for the league, more money for the players. And while this might seem like good news for everyone, I don't think it really is, because not every team spends like the Cleveland Browns. So Dan Graziano put out on Wednesday that the NFL informed teams that the 2025 per team salary cap will fall in the range of $277.5 million to $281.5 million. For the sake of today's video, let's call it 280. Let's just pick a nice, even kind of round number. Now, with this $280 million salary cap, well, first off, back when it was supposed to be or projected to be around 272, the Browns were $30 million over the salary cap. With this newer update of a $280 million salary cap, it goes down to $24.3 million. So maybe that's one less player that needs to get cut or one less contract that needs to be restructured. But all in all, this is good news for any team that's trying to get below the salary cap with as few moves as possible, because it just got them that much closer to zero. But this is overall the bet that Andrew Berry made. The way the Browns and the Eagles, and it's not a secret that those two teams do it this way since Berry came over from Philadelphia, structure their contracts is they backload them. They put a lot of the money at the end of the deal. They do that so they can maximize their spending in that season, knowing the NFL salary cap will always go up. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say a player signs like Amari Cooper, $100 million, 5 years. You could do $20 million for all 5 years as a salary cap hit. Just divide it evenly. But the issue is, in year one of that 5-year contract, the salary cap is much lower than year 5. So that 20% in year one is way higher than $20 million in year 5, right? So it's in your best interest to try and push money down the road, which I know is a very scary term, but it is, as long as the cap continues to go up. Only reason why I wouldn't is if a global pandemic happens, and then you can see what happened in 2021 when it went down basically 8%. But look at the jump it has made, especially the last 2 years. I mean, 2022, we're at $208 million. Fast forward to 2025, we're knocking on the door of $300 million. So why is this good for the Browns and not all 32 teams? because not every team spends like the Browns. Cowboys hate spending in free agency. They never make big free agency signings externally. I don't remember the last time the Cowboys spent more than $30 million on a free agent from another team. Seriously, the Bengals won't give players guaranteed money on the second year of your contract unless your name is Joe Burrow. Not every team spends the same way. So it doesn't matter for the Bengals or the Cowboys that the salary cap is $280 million or $250 million. Like, they're not aggressive in their spending. But for teams that do want to spend money, that do want to go out and spend on free agents, and do want to give big extensions to their players and not drag it out till Sunday of week 1 like Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, this suits them well. So teams like the Browns, teams like the Eagles, right? Teams that like to spend money and have ownership that goes, listen, whatever is in the best interest of the team, structure the contract that way. If that means I got to start writing checks for big signing bonuses right now to lower cap hits, I'll do it. You know who won't do that? The Bengals. Why? They're selling TVs to pay their rent. The Raiders, the Bears, these are teams that do not have rich ownership groups. The ownership is a hand-me-down from the founder of the team. The business for them is the team. Jimmy Haslam's business is not the Browns. That's not where he made his money. So when you've got owners that go, hey, whatever is in the best interest of the team, structure the contract that way. I don't care how big of a check you need me to sign. I'll sign any check. Believe it or not, there are plenty of owners that go, I'm not signing that big of a check. Figure out another way. No way, Jose. Thankfully, may not like Jimmy Haslam, and listen, I understand that. I'm not here to be his attorney. But I'd rather have an owner willing to spend than an owner who just hoover flags the whole time. In sports, of all places, when they're all billionaires. So there's plenty of cons for Mr. Haslam, and I'm not saying that Andrew Berry has done a, bang-up job with the way he spent money and drafted and all that stuff, but I'd rather be under this umbrella of a team that's willing to be aggressive in spending and has an ownership group that will spend no matter what, than have an ownership group that goes, yeah, I know you really want that player, but we can't afford him. Yes, you can. You just don't want to put money into the future. You don't want to add void years to a contract and have dead money when they're not on the team because you don't like the idea of paying players when they're not around. Thankfully, again, I'm not here to say the Browns are perfect, but if there is one pro to them, that's one of them. So, with that being said, there's a lot more money coming for the NFL. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because last year, the NFL discovered a whole new well of revenue, and that's streaming. They sold 2 games to Netflix for $150 million. It was a big success for Netflix, right? The 2 games were blowouts, and they got incredible ratings, they had incredible views and everything. What do you think the NFL is going to do now? You think they're going to look at this and go, it was a fun one-off? No. We may not like it as consumers, because I'm with you there. It's very frustrating to have so many accounts, and it's even more frustrating having to call my grandparents and explain to them how to sign into all these accounts. But the NFL is going to continue this, and it's going to bring more money than they ever could have imagined, right? Peacock paid $110 million for one playoff game. They liked it so much, they came back and said, can we do the Eagles-Packers game in Brazil on Friday, please? We'll pay you a lot for it. Same for Amazon Prime. This is a whole new revenue channel for the NFL. And the more money that comes in, the higher the salary cap. And I don't think it's just streaming, by the way, that's going to keep this salary cap from exploding. The NFL is now really looking internationally. I mean, this is not a new phenom, but I didn't realize they were playing in Dublin in Spain this year. I forgot or missed that memo. You've got Brazil in week 1, the Dolphins are hosting. The Browns, the Jets, and of course the London Jags are all going to play in the UK. The Colts are going to host a game in Berlin. The Dolphins are going to host a game in Madrid. Oh, that's the Chargers in Brazil. Chargers in Brazil, and then the Dolphins are in Madrid. And the Steelers hosting a game in Dublin. And next year, the Rams host a game in Australia. Where do you think those games are going to be aired on? It's going to be Netflix? Won't be long till probably Hulu wants to say in all this. All these big streaming conglomerates are going to want a piece of the pie. That's more money for the league. That's a bigger salary cap. And I understand that this can be a little bit, complex when it comes to money, but it's going to make Deshaun Watson's cap hit when I believe he inevitably gets released a year from now a lot more easier to digest as a team because the percentage cap hit is not going to be as big. And I'll expand on that in just a second here. But we are talking a lot about a boring, schmoring NFL salary cap stuff. So let's keep it lighthearted. Name a random Browns player. This has nothing to do with the video, but I thought we could kind of come back to earth for a second here. Name a random Browns player. I've got one in my head. I want to see if you say the same person. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Gary Barnidge. Let me know if you said Gary as well down below in the comment section. Now, like I was saying, you need to start looking at cap hits, the cap number by percentages. What percentage of the cap is this player's cap hit taking up? It might be a big number, but if it's a big number against a big salary cap, like if it's a $20 million cap hit against a $200 million salary cap versus a $20 million cap hit against a $220 million salary cap, you're going to want the latter. And that's why the Browns do it this way. And you may not like it or may not understand it, but that's the reason why. So when you look at Deshaun Watson's cap hits, I know $72.9 million is a scary number. But I'll tell you what, that number is never going to happen. They're going to restructure his contract. They're going to lower that cap hit. They're going to push money from 2026 all the way to 2030. He will be a part of the Browns salary cap books up until 2030. And yes, that's a long time. It's not quite Bobby Bonilla long, but it is a long time. But they want to keep the percentage low. They don't want to bite 25% right now. They want the ability to spend in free agency. So they'll take crumbs, right? 5% there, 6% there, 8% there, and spread it over a long period of time. They want to level off and find low percentages over a long duration. That is the strategy. That is the thinking. And that strategy and thinking works as long as the salary cap continues to go up and up and up, which I think we just saw that is going to be the case. Before we sign off, two quick things here. One, this Browns t-shirt and plenty more merchandise is on sale right now at chatsports.com/CLE sale. I put the link for you guys in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to get some Browns gear going into spring and whatnot, which can't get here soon enough, use our link. It does help support the channel, so I put it down below. Check it out to get some more Browns stuff in your wardrobe. And now, let's pick a card to wrap up the show. Mr. Bartkus, which card do you want to go with today?
I was going to go.
Oh, you're learning.
I was going to go with King of Clubs.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stay with King.
Whoa.
But go Hearts.
Hearts?
King of Hearts.
King of Hearts. Okay. I might intentionally get worse at shuffling because it pisses a lot of people off in the comment section. One person in particular, and they know who they are. So I was thinking 8 of diamonds, but that's wrong. I got a 1 in 52 chance. Why? I'm going to make my odds better. So now I'm thinking 3 of spades. That's wrong too. I'm going to go one step further. Give me 4 of diamonds. I had the right thinking, just didn't make the right pick. 3 of clubs. Someone get it? Oh, Weston and Joshua Miller both said 3 of clubs during our live show. All right, that will do it for us on today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you're still tuning in right now, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.